Happy Thursday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I am Anthony Totri, joined as always by the man, the myth, the big pokey, Shane Dieffenbach.
What is good? We are 14 days away from kickoff.
We are 14 days away for Arizona State.
Yes.
And Kenny Dillingham getting ready to coach his very first game as the Sun Devil head coach. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. At the end of the show, Sparky tweeted at us.
He's coming in studio.
No, is he?
Oh.
Okay, you liar.
Yeah.
He tweeted at us. He gave his thoughts and opinion on the Big 12 mascots and our little tier list. So we'll see what Sparky had to say.
What's little?
It's a little tier list.
Why are you demeaning our tier list?
It's little. It's not very large,
Yeah,
to say the least. Come on now. And also, we got an update on a former Arizona State running back signing with a new NFL team. That's a couple days old, but if you haven't heard the news, we'll get to that a little bit later on. And then, you mentioned it, just 14 days away from kickoff for Arizona State. So that means it is time for some Pac-12 preseason power rankings. We'll get into those. But
you're talking like an SEO headline generator.
Am I? Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah.
This morning.
Arizona State Pac-12 preseason
I don't know
power rankings.
I don't know what you want from me.
The Sun Devils down in Tempe, Arizona.
You finished?
Yeah, I'm done now.
Okay, there you go. But we're going to kick things off as we've been doing a lot lately this week and chatting with some of our friends across the Big 12 just to hear a little bit about the perception of Arizona State, and that's no different today. We're bringing on Justin Couz Walker out there in West Virginia covering the Mountaineers. Justin, thanks so much for taking the time today, man.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, of course.
Can I just get something out of the way first?
Absolutely.
Justin, are you close to the Appalachian Mountains, and are they as scary as people say they are?
They're not scary. They're beautiful.
Okay.
There you go.
But yes,
There's
I
no-
am.
Okay, good.
Justin,
I am in the mountains.
First and foremost, I think when Arizona State made the move to the Big 12, it didn't take all but a couple hours for athletic director Ray Anderson to say something to piss people off. And it had to do with Morgantown, West Virginia. Did you hear the comments and the joke, and then what did you think about it?
I did hear it, and I don't know why you guys couldn't rein him in. I mean, you guys are supposed to have him under control, I thought, out there in Phoenix. But no, it was interesting to say the least. I did hear the interview, the full thing, so that I could get full context. And it was a joke, but I felt like it was in poor taste, especially considering you're just coming into the conference. They're one of your conference mates. You will be playing them soon. Just not a good way to get off on the right foot with West Virginia fans and even Big 12 fans as a whole. When we had Big 12 fans from across the country coming to our defense after those comments by Mr. Anderson.
What are some things that ASU fans need to know about West Virginia coming into the conference next year?
Bring a coat if the game is late in the year, number one. I'm sure it's a lot colder in Morgantown than it is in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But no, other than that, I mean, our fans are very passionate. We love our Mountaineers. If we're playing well, we will fill the stadium up, and we'll fill it up even when we're not very often. We like to tailgate. We like to have a good time, but we're also very cordial. I don't know how many times I've seen West Virginia fans come up and welcome opposing fans to the stadium, shake their hands. I try to do that myself. I think you'll find us very welcoming. And we just love our football in West Virginia, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, while we're talking West Virginia football, what do you think is the outlook for the Mountaineers this season?
Depends on who you ask. I mean, nationally, nobody expects us to do anything. Most outlets are predicting us to finish last in the Big 12. I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think we'll be closer to middle of the pack in the conference. Neil Brown's on the hot seat, obviously, so he has to win this year. We have question marks at quarterback. We don't know who the starter's going to be just yet. It's between our veteran Garrett Green, who's been the backup for the last 3 years, or redshirt freshman Nico Marchiol, who's a 4-star recruit, who you guys probably know from out west there in Arizona, because he's actually from Hamilton High School out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, we're excited about it. We've got a lot of experience coming back on the offensive line, but we've also lost a lot of guys to the portal again and had to replace those guys. And anytime you do that, there's always a lot of question marks. So.
Yeah.
Well, let's just erase what athletic director Ray Anderson had to say about Morgantown. Let's forget that for a second. Before those comments, what was and is your perception of ASU, not just as a football program, but kind of as a school in general, and what were your initial reactions to them joining the Big 12?
I'm excited about it. I mean, number one, you've got the city of Phoenix that we're bringing to the table, which I think is great for the league. You have one of the largest enrollments, if not the largest enrollment in the country. We now have the Big 12 will now have the two largest in UCF and Arizona State, the schools with the two largest enrollments in the country. I don't know if people understand how big that could be. Those are future fans, current and future fans that this conference will have watching TVs, watching games on Saturdays. So that's important. And I know Arizona State's had a good brand of football over the years. I know they're going through some struggles now with the off-field stuff with Herm and all that. But, I mean, I'm excited to have them in the league, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of zooming out from Arizona State, just what are your thoughts on conference realignment and I guess the way that the last month has gone for both the Pac-12 and then the Big 12?
Well, I mean, couldn't be more different, right? Night and day, two opposite ends of the spectrum, as they say. As a Big 12 fan, and especially as a West Virginia fan, you got to realize we've been through conference realignment a lot now.
Mm-hmm.
We were hung out to dry almost in the Big East back in 2010. We found a home in the Big 12. We thought we were going to be hung out to dry again 2 years ago when Texas and Oklahoma announced they were leaving. Fortunately, they were able to save the conference by bringing in, the three AAC and BYU. And now to see the shoe on the other foot and see another conference going through this, I'm not dancing on anyone's grave, but it is definitely a sense of relief and excitement to know that your league is finally on the good end of expansion instead of the bad end of expansion and getting teams taken from you. So it's an exciting time to be a Big 12 fan.
Yeah.
Out of the newcomers, either the ones coming in this year or with ASU in 2024, who do you think you're most excited to travel to and just play in football?
Well, I hope I get to travel that far. I'd love to visit Phoenix. It's definitely on my bucket list. I'm going to have to say the Arizona schools, man, because I've always wanted to go to Arizona anyway. Obviously, Cincinnati's a lot closer for us to travel to, so that's a plus. And then UCF, I can't leave them out. The city of Orlando is an awesome city, so I would say of the four new ones, I'm going to say UCF, and of the four coming next year, I'm going to say Arizona State because of the city of Phoenix. And I'm not saying that just because you guys are because it's your show either. I would love to visit it sometime. I've heard good things about it.
See, look, West Virginia fans coming, they're making friends, and Ray Anderson's out there making enemies. Yeah. It's just it's a tough look.
Hey, you know what? I've forgiven him. He apologized. He talked to our AD Ren Baker. They had a cordial conversation. I think it's all good now. He says
I can't wait.
Looks forward to visiting.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for those first photos of him in Morgantown just to see it, because I think Big 12 fans all across are going to probably go crazy.
That tweet up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the odds they make Arizona State travel to Morgantown for Game 1 in 2024?
I would say high. It just feels like something they would do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Justin, last question before you get you out of here. We've been talking a lot, obviously, about conference realignment. It's really dominating college athletics and college football specifically, but if any of these other conferences were to split up, I guess the rest of the Pac-12, or maybe if the Big 12 was to poach from the Mountain West or the ACC, what two schools would you like to see the Big 12 add again?
I'm going to be biased in my answer. Is that okay?
Totally fine.
I want to see Virginia Tech and Pitt in the league because that's West Virginia's two biggest rivals, and because they're in our region, we can travel to the games. It's easier for the student athletes to travel to those games, and rivalries are good for TV. Let's face it. So I would love to see Virginia Tech and Pitt in the conference, and we need more teams from the eastern part of the country anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we don't make sense, but I love when things make sense geographically. So that's a good answer.
Talking about we don't make sense, or Arizona State and Arizona don't make sense?
Both.
All of it? None of it makes sense?
Nothing makes sense.
Okay. Justin, thanks so much for taking the time to talk a little bit about West Virginia today, man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys again for having me on.
Yeah, no
Have a good one, and we'll see you in 2024.
Yes, sir. We'll see you.
All right, Shane. We've talked to West Virginia. We have talked to Texas Tech, and we have talked to – I'm losing it right now. Is that it? Oh, no, we talked to UCF as well. Out of those three that we've talked to, which one gives you the most excitement looking to those matchups in 2024?
Those are you know what's crazy? Those are the three cities that I've kind of been like the most. The next thing we need is an Iowa State podcast because we can talk about them.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know if they're even going to want to. I would say, it's kind of like the ocean for me. I might be scared of it, but I want to go to West Virginia. I might be scared of it, but I want to go to Morgantown.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna take UCF.
Yeah, give me banjos. You got to start paddling faster.
Give me Orlando. Glenn in the chat noticed a trend of podcasts yesterday and today. People like the rivalries. Absolutely, it's just, and they love things that make sense. Right?
Why do you think the UFC is so popular? It's fun to watch people fight.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Guys, another thing that makes sense. Wink and you. It goes together like peanut butter and jelly, guys. Wink is just the perfect.
Eat your heart out, Sean.
Huh?
Said eat your heart out, Sean.
Oh,
God. You can't have peanut butter and jelly.
It's balanced, it's light, it's social, guys. Bubbly enough to work the room and bubbly enough to keep your wits. It is quite literally the perfect high, especially for people that aren't necessarily big into edibles or just getting really, really high. Wink is the perfect amount to just kind of take the edge off. And they've got a sister product as well, Countdown. That is for people that maybe do like the high a little bit. Countdown is a nano. Wow, I can't even say that. Emulsion? What is that word?
Emulsion?
Is emulsion? I can't even say that word, bro. That's crazy. Arizona State. Cannabis-infused beverage that delivers
not
a
Arizona
sky-high
State.
blast
Anthony Totri.
with a powerful flavor, guys. Available in either 2.5 milligram or 5 milligram cans. You can find Wink right here in Arizona. Look for Wink at all Sunday Goods dispensaries in the Valley and dispensary in Tucson. Guys, they're now in 12 states nationwide and even recently launched online ordering and home delivery to about a dozen others. To find the fastest way to get your hands on one, go to drinkwink.com.
I thought I was going to look over there and see this like 13-letter word. I was like, oh, I don't know. Do you remember Joe Alexander? You probably don't. Joe Alexander from West Virginia in like 2009.
No.
Just one of the best bucket getters I ever watched. Chad, do you remember Joe Alexander? Played like 3 years. He was only good for like 2 years.
Love me a good bucket getter.
Dude, he was he averaged 16 points. I don't know why I remember him so vividly. Anyway, he's awesome, and so is Factor. Factor meal kits. Guys, I was reading this ad copy before we started, and my mouth started watering because I thought about their breakfast. I'd never gotten their breakfast, but I think I have to. If you don't know what Factor is, it is the best meal kits in the world. Guys, if you need an extra boost to support your wellness goals this summer, try their Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more a serving. Plus, they have breakfast, as I talked about, and just a ton more stuff. So head over to factormeals.com/PHNX Sun Devils 50 and use code PHNX Sun Devils 50 to get 50% off. That's 50% off. And that's code PHNX Sun Devils 50 at factormeals.com/PHNX Sun Devils 50 to get 50% off.
Yeah, Factor does taste really good. Those smoothies are so damn good. All right, Shane, let's go ahead and look at some of these Pac-12 preseason power rankings. Before we get into it, was there any difficulty for you in maybe deciding who and what goes at the top?
There was difficulty in comparison from the last time we did this.
Yeah.
Because we did it in Vegas. And we were in Vegas, so everything's easier to do in Vegas because it's just more fun to do in Vegas. I wish we were in Vegas right now, Anthony.
Can you stop you got something?
Huh?
You just got an eyelash. I want to help you. No?
I remember being blown away by your list last time, but I don't remember what I was blown away by. So we'll see if I'm still blown away this time.
Okay, well, let's start with your list. Let's see your Pac-12 preseason power rankings. Shane, why don't you just go through and tell us your explanation for some of these?
Yeah, I mean, this is a power ranking. This isn't a overall ranking. Like, this isn't like I'm not ranking the team on skill. I'm ranking, it's a power ranking.
Yeah.
Utah is the best team in this conference. They won last year. They've won the last 2 years, and they own USC. Like, until USC can beat Utah, they're not. I think it would be unfair to give USC the top spot. And I know a lot of places have that, and for good reason. USC's unbelievably talented. They have the reigning Heisman winner. They have a really good receiving core, adding Dorian Singer and Tyreek Hill. But their defense still just doesn't do it for me. And again, as I said, they have to dethrone Utah if they want that top spot, but they're definitely not number 2 still. So I got USC at 2, and then I got Oregon at 3. A lot of people have Washington at 2 or 3 and Utah at 3 or 4. I just don't see it. Look, Washington has an awesome receiving core and a really good quarterback in MPJ, but like I'm just not really sold on their repeated success. In last year, like their success was just underwhelming to me, even though they were spots away from the college football playoff. Like I just never felt like they were actually a threat. So they're at 4 for me, and then DJU and Oregon State are at 5. UCLA at 6. I think their defense is going to be a lot better than people think this year. And then I got the Arizona schools 7 and 8. After 6, any of these from 6 to 11, I feel like any of these schools could go anywhere. Genuinely, I do. Okay. Like Stanford is Stanford; they're going to stay at 12. But anywhere else, I feel like they could. Anybody could finish anywhere. So take all of this with a grain of salt. Arizona at 7, Arizona State at 8. Just, I mean,
what's the reasoning for that one?
I had problems putting Arizona State higher than 9.
Okay.
Just because, again, it's power rankings for me. I think of what they did last year and how many pieces they lost, and just the turnover. Look, I know I've seen it in practice, and we're way closer to this team than a lot of people are, and we know that they're going to be better than people think. But until like I see them put a full game together, it's just hard to rank them past 8. And then can we pull that back up? I'm sorry. And so I have them at 8, and then Washington State, Colorado, Cal, like those are just Washington State. It depends on Cam Ward and the offensive line.
Yeah.
If the offensive line is good, they could be all the way up to 5, I think. But if it's not, they could go all the way down to 11. And then Colorado, just they're wearing social media handles on the back of their jerseys. Like, I don't know. We'll see where they go.
That's tough.
Cal at 11.
I thought you were a buyer for Cal.
Well, people think they're going to be like the worst team ever.
They're just going to be the second worst team.
No,
in
I think
this
they're going to be okay. Justin Wilcox, watch out. 4 and 8, 5 and 7. Watch out.
I don't know if that's watch out. That's like, oh, we hit a bump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like anything crazy. Glenn in the chat, Shane might have the most fair, logical, and unbiased list I ever saw, if I'm being honest.
The only bias I have is toward Cam Rising, and that's because I love that man.
It's hard not to like Cam Rising. I feel like when you look at quarterbacks in this conference, Cam Rising is a quarterback that he doesn't get shit, but he is a guy that I feel like is so overlooked, and he's overlooked at the top of this conference by guys like Caleb Williams and Bo Nix, and then he's also overlooked by a newcomer in DJ Uiagalelei. I just feel like he's not the sexy quarterback to talk about.
He's not. He's not the sexy quarterback. I mean, he doesn't play sexy. He doesn't have a crazy deep ball. He's not. Won't blow you away with his athleticism. But what you don't see is the heart. Like you see it. Like you can when he wants to get 3 yards and it's fourth and goal from the 3. He's getting that 3 yards because he's putting his body on the line. He cares that much. But like you can't physically see it. You watch it unfold on the field, but you can't physically see it. And you see these sexy throws by Michael Penix Jr. You see these crazy plays by Bo Nix. But I don't know if people are rating Bo Nix higher than even after last year's success. I don't know if people are overlooking Cam Rising because of Bo Nix. I definitely think everyone's in the shadow of the behemoth that is Caleb Williams. Yeah. But other than that, I think all of these quarterbacks are kind of just in the green room while Caleb Williams is accepting his trophies.
I would have loved to see where people had Bo Nix in Oregon if Kenny was still the OC at Oregon, and how much of the people buying into Oregon now in this conversation and Bo Nix in general without Kenny at the helm.
Excuse me. I don't know how much higher they would have been able to go. A lot of people have them at 3, and that's where I have them. But like, I'm not. There's no chance in hell. A lot of people have them over Utah, and
I don't see how you have
Washington over Oregon. Which it's again just they did lose some pieces, but I don't know. I don't think they would be any higher just because you're not putting them at 2. You're just not.
Yeah, the upper echelon of this conference is quite clearly Utah and USC.
Yeah, I would love to see Oregon string together some really good seasons though, and I know it doesn't really matter because the Pac is dead, but like. College football is fun when Oregon's good.
No, you're
right.
Is. You're absolutely right. Let's go ahead and pull up my Pac-12 preseason power rankings. I have a different one than you do. I've got USC atop the conference.
You hate Chip Kelly. I think you just hate the school of UCLA.
No,
you didn't put them on your top 10 teams that Yeah. You hate UCLA.
I don't hate UCLA.
What did Mick Cronin do to you?
Mick Cronin's an asshole. That's what.
He's not. He's an intense coach. He's not an asshole.
Yeah, he looks like a pinky.
You never met him as what?
He looks like a pinky. He does. A pinky toe. USC at number 1, and it's because they have the best player in all of college athletics right now.
Totally fair. 1 and 2, totally fair.
Yeah. And again, Utah, this is tough for me because I think my argument even last month, I had Utah above USC, and it was because Utah has won the conference the last 2 years. They've had USC's number, and they have Kyle Whittingham, which I firmly believe is the best coach in this conference. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that USC has the best player in this conference in Caleb Williams, and it's just hard for me to not give them that top spot. But again, the defense was the big question mark last year, and I think it's the big question mark going into this season. So we'll obviously see what they can do from that standpoint. So Utah at number 2. Again, I really love what Kyle Whittingham has done for this Utah football program, and I think that's why they're going to the Big 12. It's because it was a school that, they have a lot to offer. Cam Rising obviously coming back last year of eligibility for him. So I think it is going to be a little bit of a prove it year for him. Not necessarily from a perspective of like, I need to show you what I've got, but it's like I can be in this conversation of top quarterbacks in this conference and in the country. So I think that is certainly something. We know what Utah's defense and their offensive line present year in and year out. So there's definitely no question marks for them on that side. I've got Oregon at 3.
Well, there are question marks with injuries. Because, Cam Rising still rehabbing the ACL, and they had a pretty scary injury to their backup in practice. So as Glenn points out, like, their backup's not struggling. He just got hurt bad, and their third string isn't great. So
have faith in winning.
And guess who they have week 1? A team that I'm very high on in the University of Florida. Even without Anthony Richardson, I think they're going to be pretty damn good. So
it's going to be a hell of a game, to be honest with you. Some of those games that we had last season to start the year were just so electric. That Florida State LSU game, do you remember that? God, that was a lot of fun.
Missed field goal. That was the worst day of my life. I lost a lot of money.
That was such a good game, though. I have Oregon at number 3.
Lucky.
I have a really tough time putting them. I think it is 2 and then a drop off and then 3.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think Utah and USC are.
I think Utah and Oregon are like the same team.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I love what Bo Nix provides.
I think
for Oregon,
or Utah, Oregon, and Washington are all the same. Like,
see, I don't believe. I'm not in on the Washington hype yet. We'll
I'm not in on them being a top 10 team in the country, but I think they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, and I think a good team this year in the Pac-12 means something different than it did last year to be a good team in the Pac-12.
What, like top 5?
Yeah, I think top 5 is you're in the AP top 25 if you're a top 5 team in this conference.
I think top 4. Well, I mean, USC is in the AP. Yeah, 4. There's 4 teams in the AP top 25 right now. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to
so Oregon at 3, Oregon State at 4. Their defense was, phenomenal last year. If they even bring back half of what they were able to do last year, and now they've added a quarterback in DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson. I think there's a lot to be excited about if you're an Oregon State fan. Sean talks about it. You've talked about it. Wouldn't be shocked if Oregon State somehow ended up in the Pac-12 championship game, just because it looks like they have the pieces to be a really good team in what looks like what will be the final year of the Pac-12 as we know it. Washington at 5. I know a lot of people have Washington in the top 3 of this conference, not just because of Michael Penix Jr., but the point that you brought up, their weapons on offense are really, really strong. But for some reason, I'm just not a big believer in Washington football.
Let's find that reason. What's that reason?
What?
You said for some reason. What's the reason?
For some reason, I'm just not a bit.
But what's the reason?
It might not even have to do with Washington. It might just be that I believe in those 4 teams above them a little bit more.
Okay.
I like Oregon State's defense enough to put them over Washington. I like Bo Nix more than I like Michael Penix Jr. And then Utah and USC, they're self-explanatory. Why
you like Bo Nix more than you like Michael Penix Jr.?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he gives.
I like Bo Nix as a person because he gives better answers than Michael Penix Jr. God, was he just a
he was tough to talk to.
He
was tough to talk to.
Sorry,
he was a rock.
Yeah.
Oh
he
man,
was talking to a rock. He did give a really good answer though by saying that Harry was like that for Pac-12 Hunger
Yeah.
Games.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
this is where things got tough for me.
This is crazy.
And so I've got Arizona State at 6 above Arizona, and I think that is going to irritate some people because Arizona definitely got better.
I'm fine with you having them above Arizona.
But having them at 6?
Just seeing Arizona State at 6 is pretty crazy.
I really like their roster, man. I
do
really
too.
like the roster.
I do too. Like, as I said, like I'm definitely not believing in this team. Like I could see them realistically winning 7 or 8 games. Genuinely, I could, because of how many home games they have. But I just need to see it happen.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It is going to be very interesting. And you brought it up when you were explaining yours, right? They're from 6 to 11. This could all really shuffle around. And I think you're going to see that pretty early on come conference play as these teams start to shuffle.
Kelly Park said, I'd flip OSU in Washington. Well, Kelly, you want to go ahead and look at mine? I got you.
Dear God. Dear God.
I just wanted to make it.
You just wanted to make a point. Yeah, there you go. Washington above Oregon State. Okay. We can go back to mine. I do have Arizona at 7. I like what Jed Fish is building. I just need to see defensively what this team looks like, because defensively they were pretty horrendous last season. I got UCLA at 8. Not a giant fan of Chip Kelly. I don't really know who's starting at quarterback for the Bruins. I don't think they know who's starting at quarterback quite yet for the Bruins, if it's going to be Dante Moore or who they had as a backup last season. I don't know. I'm just not a big believer in what UCLA
no
is
Jake
doing.
Bobo anymore.
Yeah,
he's just showing out on the Seahawks.
Yeah, I bet you they wish they had him still in Los Angeles. I've got Washington State at 9. This has to do with the fact that they've lost pretty much their entire defensive staff to Arizona State. They lost a phenomenal player in Trey Brown as well. And then, I don't know, the offense wasn't wildly impressive last season, but we'll see what Cam Ward has to say about that this year. I've got Colorado and Deion coach Prime Sanders at number 10. This is just realistically the highest that I can put a team that has been as bad as they were last season. And that's all I'm going to say about Colorado. What?
I just have to keep you in check sometimes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Keep me in check.
Say that sentence again. This is realistically the highest
the highest that I can put a team that was as bad as they were last season.
So why is Arizona State at 6?
Because they were better than Colorado last season.
They were 4 spots better.
And they beat the shit out of Colorado.
They did not beat the shit out of
They
Colorado.
did, but the last quarter of it, if you go back to the stat broadcast and those last few drives, we watched that game.
Yeah, the game did not feel close, but just say you got a team that was 3-9 last year. I just like to keep you in check.
No, that's fair. I think Colorado could finish like 8, but I think that's probably the highest they could go. They have a really tough schedule. Cal at 11. I just
not mad at your list at all.
Yeah, and Stanford at 12. I feel like I could have been more dramatic with some of these in their placement, or more. What's the word I'm looking for? Just out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we did a both. Wow, dude, I can't fucking speak. We both did a good job of being realistic with our lists. Glenn in the chat agreed. Knicks over Penix to get Totri's reasoning. Nice list as well. Dante Moore versus Rashada for Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Kip, Tempe, normal stop. The Cavzona is better than you guys. I don't know if they are. I think this is a year where these two teams look pretty similar.
I just think it's crazy for either side to say they are 100% better than the other.
Yeah, we'll find out pretty quick. I think we'll find out who's the first real opponent that Arizona has to play. Because I would argue the first real opponent Arizona State has to play is Oklahoma State in week 2.
Mississippi State in week 2.
Okay, so they've got
Mississippi State and Oklahoma State are pretty similar.
But it's an SEC team and then a Big 12 team. I think Mississippi State probably wipes the floor with Arizona. It's an SEC team. The SEC is different. Even their worst teams they're the SEC. It's what they do. But yeah, guys, let us know in the comments what you think of these Pac-12 preseason power rankings. And while you do that, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Circle K. Stopped there this morning, got an energy drink, got a Gatorade Zero. Why? Because they've got such great deals over at Circle K, guys. They've got locations all over the valley, and they've got some phenomenal deals. Buy Powerade at 4 for $5 and be entered, and you could be one of 10 finalists entered to win a 2023 Ford Big Bend Bronco SUV. They've also got some great deals on energy drinks. Like I said, buy 2, get 1 free. Monster energy drinks. And it is a Thirsty Thursday, so why don't you stop at your Circle K and grab yourself a Beatbox Hard Tea. Buy 2, get 1 free. Now pull out your cell phone right now, because we want to make sure you're not missing out on all the great stuff that they've got over at Circle K. Right now, text PHNX to 310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. Guys, Circle K, go get it.
Apparently, UCLA fans are saying that Chase Griffin's going to start because he's worn the GoPro in the last 2 days of practice.
I love that as the reasoning.
There's some knowledge for you. Here's some more knowledge for you. Four Peaks, good beer, drink it. Woo!
Great beer, drink it.
Great beer. But on the super juicy kick, the hazy is just the best beer ever. But it's like if you listen to your favorite song like 30 times in a row, like you risk the chance of getting sick of it. You're never gonna get sick of Four Peaks beer though. You can keep drinking and drinking it, but please do it responsibly, guys. Head over to the 8th Street Pub, get yourself some tendies, get yourself some beer, get yourself some good vibes for the upcoming football season. Check out at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. As I say all the time, if you're in the mood for an airport beer, look no further than their pub / brewery / location inside of Sky Harbor. It's not either of those things, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
And they have got all your favorite beers there. So make sure to go and get that. But as I said, you got to be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink it responsibly.
Glenn in the chat. Actually, I take it back. U of A versus NAU got to be their first real test if you know the history.
Kip saying, no, Mississippi State's not a threat.
They're running an NFL offense that runs the ball, and we will beat Tempe up north. Guess we'll see. Guess we'll see what happens. Want to get to Sparky. Sparky tweeted at us yesterday after we did our Big 12 tier list for mascots. So if you missed yesterday's episode, this is the tier list that we had for the mascots. We had BYU's mascot, Cosmo the Cougar, and Arizona State Sparky in the S tier. We had Chip, we had the Super Frog, and we had Nitro in the A tier. We had Bruiser, Raider Red, and Big J. The B tier, we had Cy, Swoop, all the boys, Wilbur, Wilma, the Mountaineer, and then Cincinnati's mascot, all in the C tier. And then we had arguably the two scariest things on planet Earth, Pistol Pete and Willie the Wildcat, in the D tier. So we posted that on Twitter. It got people talking, and it got Sparky talking as well. This is the tweet that he had sent in relation to the tier list, saying, move Cosmo down to A. Sparky's the only S tier. Chip and Nitro are fine in A. Super Frog needs to be in B tier. Move up the Jayhawks simply for his role in necessary roughness to B. Bruiser is C. Red Raider good in B. And move my boy Swoop up to A. Wilbur in F tier.
Yeah, I agree with everything except for Super Frog being in B. I think if anything, he's in like a tier between A and S. That's an elite mascot. I love the Super Frog. I really think we missed on Swoop. I think Swoop should have been higher.
You think?
Yeah. Swoop's pretty cool.
You were the one that said you didn't like Swoop.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said we missed.
Why is it a we? I think it's a you missed.
No, you didn't argue with me. Just like I keep you accountable, you got to keep me accountable.
I did. I'm pretty sure I said I didn't want to argue with you.
That's not keeping me accountable. It's giving up on me.
I wasn't giving up on you.
You just said I don't want to argue with you. That's giving up.
Is that giving up, Leah? If I said I don't want to argue with somebody, or is that just being non-confrontational?
No, that's not keeping him accountable.
Yeah,
that's giving up.
But then what if you fight back? How much?
You're giving up right now.
Stop it.
You just gotta fight back more.
I'm giving up.
You're giving up. Right now.
I didn't like that at all. Okay. Last thing before we get out of here,
Totri
guys.
and I snapped twice at the same time.
That was pretty crazy that we did that. We said the same thing too.
Yeah. I don't know.
It had something to do with the Mariners game.
Kip, stop it. The Mountaineer is, as I said multiple times yesterday, just a man with a gun.
Yeah, that's all.
And a cool hat.
Is it a cool hat? Or is it just a hat?
It's a cool hat. As long as it's not real.
What makes it cool? As long as the hat's not real?
Yeah, as long as it's not made out of like an actual, whatever, a raccoon or whatever they make those hats out of.
I feel like that would make it so much cooler if it was made out of raccoon. No?
Because you're killing an animal.
It's a raccoon.
Well, it's not raccoons. It's what do they make those hats out of? Something sad.
Something sad.
It looks like a possum of some sort.
Leah's taking a closer
look. It kind of looks like a raccoon.
Yeah, I think it might be a raccoon.
Okay, well, still.
No, this is me keeping you accountable.
No, okay. You killing animals for...
No. I'm not saying killing animals. It's a raccoon. We're not out there killing endangered species.
I know, but you're still killing an animal for style.
What if it's already dead? What if it's roadkill? Then can you use it for?
Yeah, but that's yeah. You can.
Roadkill hat. There you go. There you go.
If the Mountaineers hat is roadkill, he's an S tier.
That would be
But if
awesome.
it's anything else, he's going down to F.
Oh, goodness. Guys, Xazavian Valladay, he is a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, I talked to Doug at practice. He was pretty juiced.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not be juiced about Xazavian Valladay? I don't know why Houston cut him. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I thought Xazavian Valladay was a running back that was overlooked in terms of the draft process. You know, that a lot of that has to do with the fact that he played out the entirety of his eligibility in college. So he is a little bit more of a warm running back, especially if you look at all of the carries that he had, not only last year, but the time at his previous university as well. But Xazavian Valladay, do you think he finds a way to earn a roster spot with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I hope so. Yes, Glad. There's a Davy Crockett hat. I know that. I hope so. I mean, he's good enough to play on an NFL team. It's tough out there, man.
Yeah.
It's tough to make an NFL roster. If I had to say yes or no, I'd say yes.
Okay.
Just because of how much he was able to do. I mean, dude was, how many yards did he have last year? Like 1,500?
He was the ASU offense. Outside of Elijah Badger, he was the ASU offense.
Oh, just a terrible offense.
Yeah.
Ugh. God, I am so happy I don't have to watch that anymore.
Xazavian Valladay. What is Glenn Thomas doing now? Did he get a job?
Yeah, he's working out in and out.
That's fucked up. That's fucked
well, he
up.
still gets to wear the headset.
Oh my gosh. That is. Come on. That was something.
Again.
No, it was good.
I know, but you don't have to.
But I want to.
Because then this happens. And
what happens?
It only happens because you make it.
Well,
happen.
You make
Just
it
roll
happen.
with it.
If you would have just fist bumped me, and we could have been done with.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so it's your fault.
Well, it's again, as I say, like it's not an accomplishment for me. It's boring, but it's part of my life. Like we can just continue on.
Okay, well, I'm going to continue on and tell everybody at home about Shady Rays, guys. You could shop their entire collection at their brand new location, Kierland Commons. A full-stop shop for all things Shady Rays. It is hot as hell outside, guys, and the sun is shining. So go grab your Shady Rays, whether that be at the Kierland Commons or online. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a brand new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Strive for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
A little man just crawling here and tell you a joke or something in the middle of that ad read. Hey, Bobby, come here. Come here, Bobby. Come here. Everybody, leave a like. Leave a like for Bobby and leave a like for the one, the only, the BetMGM Sportsbook.
The BetMGM.
The BetMGM. Make sure you come out to all of our Cardinals games this year, starting Saturday. We're going to be doing watch parties and pre-post halftime shows from the BetMGM Sportsbook down at State Farm Stadium. You're allowed to touch me, but I'm not allowed to touch you. Seems a little unfair. Tyrant Anthony over here.
Tyrant Tony.
All you got to do if you want to take advantage of some free money today is sign up for BetMGM and use that bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live before our Arizona audience. Place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses. Today was George Kirby bump day, and the Mariners got a dub. I took them -1.5 today, and you can take advantage of the next Kirby bump day on BetMGM. Check out the show notes for full details. I'm going to touch Tony. Now listen to me talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 Nevada. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
That's going to do it for our show today.
Yes, it is, guys. If you enjoyed the content today, give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Big Pokey at Shane Dief.
Trying not to acknowledge everything in the comments as always.
And
Glenn, phrasing, semantics, okay? Let's not
milk stuff. We're going to see you guys tomorrow, Friday, same time, same place for a Friday fun day.
Can I do my thing again?
Do your thing again.
Trying to keep my co-host accountable as always, but not always succeeding.
Not always succeeding. We're going to see you tomorrow. Peace.